Hey there, Bolts. Thank you for joining us tonight for the 21-22 school year and for our live orientation question and answer. Really appreciate all of you that are joining us out there tonight. The first thing that I'd like for you to do is to subscribe to our YouTube channel here, and give us, your feedback. So we really appreciate that. We also have our Title I sign-in sheet and, documentation for that loaded in here as well in links, so that you can click on that and sign into that as well. For the parents out there, we thank you for tuning in tonight, and we thank you for giving us your questions. We encourage you to get involved. So our SAC committee, which is our Student Advisory Committee, are looking for dedicated parents to be a part and give us your feedback. So there's a sign up for that as well, and we will be hitting you up at football games and other sporting events early on this school year, to encourage you to get involved in your students' education here at Ridge Community High School. First and foremost, all right, we're really looking forward to a great school year this school year. And, I know that, for some of our students, it's been a while since you have been in a classroom face to face. And so the first thing that, we try to do is to make you feel comfortable and welcome here at Ridge Community High School. I would like to thank, the people that are putting this together here tonight and that are joining me, in terms of their help and support. So I would like to thank our SGA student officers and representatives, along with our SGA sponsors, for, the tours that were here today that served, nearly 500 families. So we appreciate their support in that. I would also like to thank my assistant principals who are here tonight to help me field questions, throughout, the night. So Amanda Robinson, Greg Lewis, Josh Hackett, and Karen Johnson. Thank them for their support, because putting a school year together, especially in the COVID times, is not an easy thing to do. So between the support of our administration and teachers, we hope that we have a good start of the school year for you all on August 10th. A couple of things that I'd like to share before we begin the question and answers, because in talking with some parents and students as they've been on the tours, today around campus, these questions have come up. So I'll go ahead and try to head those off. First and foremost, I would like to invite everyone that is associated with Ridge Community High School to download our RCHS app. And you can download it for free from either the Apple Store, or the Google Play Store on Android phone. So I would encourage you to do that as we push out alerts and all types of communication on this app. It's also an easy way for you to see your schedules. It's an easy way for you to communicate with your teachers. All sorts of things are available on the app. So it is really a one-stop shop for communication. So please, check that out and download it, so that you can stay in touch with all things Ridge Community. A couple of things in terms of the questions that we had today is busing. So, where do you find what bus you ride on Tuesday? Well, there's a couple ways that you can go about it. First and foremost, your student portal is the best way to locate that information. So your bus information should be provided to you on that student portal, especially if you were a student in a Polk County school last school year. Also, if you are brand new to the district or to Ridge Community High School, you may need to contact the hotline that is set up by the Polk County School Board in our transportation office. The number for that, and we'll have it posted here in the chat here in just a few moments, is 863-534-7300. And that office is open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. of an evening. On weekdays, so you can find out your bus information there, and that they would give you the bus number. They will also provide you the crossroads in terms of where you would pick up that bus. So that's where I would, start at first. Obviously our office is also going to be open on Monday. Our hours are 6:30 to 3 p.m. In our front office, so you are more than welcome, to stop by or call there. We are very busy, as you might expect, in terms of that. So, I ask for patience, in flexibility in terms of getting through. We are answering phone calls in a frenzied rate. So please, just give us some time to answer your questions, as we want everyone to have a happy and enjoyable first day of school this school year. Also had a lot of questions about schedules and schedule changes. Schedules will be given to students through their student portal. And parents, you can also see the student schedule on the parent portal if you have access to that. And one of the things I will say about schedules here on a Friday evening is that, the staff, all right, my assistant principals as well as school counselors will be working through the weekend, verifying those schedules for their accuracy, as well as completing those schedules for the new enrollments that we have in of students that may have just enrolled yesterday and today. So please keep checking your student portal and your parent portal for those schedules. If you have questions, by all means, you can email us, and you can do that through the app. If you do not have access to student portal on Tuesday, which is going to be your first day on class, you'll be coming into the courtyard, and you will have several different big boards posted throughout the courtyard that will list student names on them. It will also list the student's first period class. And we will be assisting students getting to that first period class. So again, on that first day, we have grace and mercy with your students, all right, in terms of getting them to class. So students, please do not worry about being tardy on that first day. We'll get you to that first period. And then when we do get you to that first period, your first period teacher will have a paper copy of your schedule, which will include your ID number, all right, as well as your schedule for the remainder of the day. And you should be able to make it through from that point with that paper schedule. Parents, especially of our new students or ninth grade parents, we are a closed campus on Tuesday. So there are several different ways you can drop your students off for the first day of school. Obviously, the first one is busing, and that's the way most of our students arrive to campus. So they will arrive in a bus through the bus loop. And then there will be a grab-and-go breakfast that will be provided for all students. You can also use our student drop-off in the front of the school, and that is for families that live south of the school. The Orchid Drive, which is the road right in front of the school, will be barricaded off on Tuesday morning. So those families that are coming from Patterson Road, from the south coming into the school, will be dropping off in front of the school. Those families that are coming from the north, all right, by the Dunkin' Donuts side of the school, they will be coming in through the student parking lot. But no families will be able to go through that barricade starting about 6:30 on a Tuesday morning. So I want to make sure everybody is aware of that. Once students enter campus, for however they enter, they will be grabbing that grab-and-go breakfast, which is provided, and then heading to their first period classes. And we will be running on that normal bell schedule for the rest of the day. Which brings me to the bell schedule. We are running on a 7-period day this year instead of a block schedule. So students, you will see all 7 of your teachers each and every day. So we encourage you to make good relationships with those teachers because you will be seeing them every day. Schedule changes. If Tuesday rolls around and your schedule, you want to see some, changes to it, or you're not scheduled in certain classes, usually during that first and second week of school, we'll be providing students the opportunity to submit schedule changes. This is only for inaccuracies in your schedule, all right? So please note, if you, have already taken English 2, for example, and you're scheduled in it again, those schedule changes would be taken care of hopefully before Tuesday, but if something like that happens, we will honor those schedule changes automatically. If it's just to change a course, so say you were put in art and you would rather have, guitar, we will look at those on a case-by-case basis and make accommodations where we can, but that's not always a given due to class size, and enrollment in some of those classes. So we will try our best to honor those, but there will be some cases where we cannot make the request that is requested by the student. Just a few other things that I would like to go over with you all before we open up to questions that I want to reiterate to the students out there. First and foremost, our dress code is posted on this orientation site. So students and parents, please look at that dress code in preparation for Tuesday. We ask that you honor that dress code, just like your parents, if they were to go to work, outside of the home, which probably most, if not all of them do, sometimes they have dress code requirements. And so we do here at school as well. So please make sure that you're reading through those dress code requirements and adhering to them starting on Tuesday the 10th. We will also be distributing your ID badges to you during that first week of school. And we are asking that, it is a requirement for students to wear their IDs. Again, if you were going to work at Disney or other, businesses out there, they would require you to wear IDs. It is a safety and security measure here at Ridge Community. So we will be providing students IDs, and they will be asked to wear those on campus at all times. As you well know, we are also experiencing still effects from the COVID pandemic. So there are some procedures and protocol that we need to follow while we are on campus all together, starting on Tuesday. Your teachers have already been implementing it this week as we are preparing for you to join us next week. But the first and foremost I want to say about masks, okay? Masks are encouraged. We are a large campus, so there will be, nearly 3,000 people, a little bit over, students and staff on campus starting on Tuesday. So masks are encouraged, but they are optional. Obviously for students and staff, you make that decision as a family, in terms of your mask requirement. But it is definitely encouraged still by the CDC and by Polk County School Board. But again, they are optional at this time. Students, we still will be, encouraging you to wash your hands and using the hand sanitizer stations, throughout the course of the day. You'll still be, checking in at your lunch tables, and we'll be going over all of that on Tuesday as well. One-way hallways are still in effect, and we are trying to social distance as much as possible in our classrooms. So please be mindful of that. So if your teachers ask you to spread out, in terms of your seating arrangements, or they assign you a seating chart, please note that that is part of the COVID protocol that we are trying to do to keep both students and staff safe here at Ridge Community. That pretty much covers it, for the big topics that I wanted to discuss here tonight. So at this time, I've got Ms. Robinson and Ms. Johnson over there fielding questions, for us. So we'll start with the questions.
Sure. First up is, if I do not want to be in the cafeteria for some reason at lunch, would I be allowed to eat outside?
Sure. One of the changes, especially for our 9th graders coming in, is there's not assigned seating at your lunches. So when you are dismissed for lunch, you will be coming into the cafeteria. You will pick up your lunch, and you do have some options here at Ridge Community for your lunches. So you'll pick up your lunch, and then you can choose to sit at a table inside the cafeteria or one of the many picnic tables that we have under the pavilion or under our shade trees out in our courtyard. The only thing that we would ask is that on each table you will find a QR code that if you have a smartphone, we ask that you, scan that QR code and check in at that table so that we know where you're sitting and who you're sitting with, so that if we need to do some contact tracing for the COVID pandemic protocol, we can, find that location. But other than that, you are free to, sit and enjoy your lunch time with your friends.
Okay. When and where can I obtain a supply list?
Perfect. In high school, each of our classes may have a different supply list. So some of you may have classes, like an art class or a music class or a special academy class where you'll have certain supplies that are specific to that class. Generally speaking, most of your academic classes, so your English, math, science, and social studies, you will be asked to bring a folder, some paper, and a pen or a pencil to write with. But your teachers will do a great job in giving you that information on Tuesday and then allowing you time, all right, and your parents' time to pick up those items that are specifically needed for that class. So each class is a little bit different. You may come home on Tuesday with some items from each class, but we ask them to keep that to a minimum, in terms of supplies. So on Tuesday, all you really need to bring is something to take some notes on from your teachers, a pen or a pencil, and yourself, and have a good day.
How do I get a student parking pass?
Perfect. Student parking passes are $20, and you can pick those up in the back office, all right, from Mrs. Neal, who is our financial secretary, and she is going to be available at lunch times. If you're a senior, I would also encourage you to check out the app, and when you pull into the parking lot on Tuesday, you'll see some very cool painted parking spaces that our seniors have designed to designate their parking space this year, to bring a little personality to that parking lot. So for an extra $30, all right, you can paint your space and have your own reserved parking spot in the student parking lot, but that's for seniors only.
Okay. Where will we go on Tuesday if we don't have a first period to report to?
Okay. Some of you may have holes in your schedule if you're looking at them right now. Hopefully on Tuesday, everyone will have a first period that you'll see it in Portal. But if not, all right, all of those students will report to the cafeteria. All right, and your school counselor will be in there to figure out why you have a hole in your schedule for first period. But hopefully we can get that remedied over the weekend and get those cleaned up by the time you all arrive on Tuesday.
Is the information regarding football and basketball tryouts, is there information out there regarding football and basketball tryouts for new students?
Perfect. Yes, we encourage you to get involved in athletics or any fine arts, program that we have here on campus, club or organization. So if you are a new student or a ninth grader and you want to get involved in any of the fall sports, so let's see if I can remember them here. We have football, obviously cross country, swimming, volleyball, golf. All right, out there. I'm sorry if I forgot any of the sports, that are out there in the fall. But if you're still wanting to be involved, the first thing that you need is a sports physical. You can pick that up in the office. And Coach Nixon most likely will have some available at lunches. Also on Tuesday, that if you still want to be involved in sports, you can pick up that sports physical. Once you have that completed by a doctor, and you turn that in, then you can, see the coaches about joining those activities right out of the gate. So I talked to several ninth graders here at on orientation today, and told them if they already have their physical in, we verified it, and they're starting practice, on Monday or Tuesday. So yes, we want you to be involved, and we can get you connected with those coaches or sponsors as soon as you step on campus on Tuesday.
Great. Is there an orchestra teacher this year?
Yes, there is. We have a itinerant teacher, and what that means for all of you who may not know is the teacher travels from Boone Middle School and Haines City High School and Ridge Community. So the orchestra teacher will be here at Ridge Community during 4th and 5th period. They will be in here in our band and piano rooms for both of those periods. So yes, we want to keep the tradition of orchestra strong here at Ridge Community. So if you're interested in the violin, cello, bass, all right, whatever orchestra instrument that you wish and have the desire to play, we want you to still stay involved. So we have that scheduled for you.
Does the school have driver's ed classes? And if not, how could I get that class?
Sure. Driver's ed classes we don't specifically have here at Ridge Community High School. However, many of our students take driver's ed online as part of their online requirement through Florida Virtual. If you wish to take driver's ed, you can see your school counselor, and when we have that schedule change request form, you can ask questions about that on that Google Doc.
Do I have to qualify in any way for the ROTC program?
No, typically if you are interested in the ROTC program, you would start out in our level 1s and then you can work your way up. As you know, out there, Bolts, if you have followed Ridge Community High School for any length of time, you know that we are a nationally recognized JROTC program, and so we encourage you to be involved. That is one of the great activities that our students choose to be involved in, and provides lots of opportunities to travel, and hopefully we get to this year with COVID. But that's a great way to be involved. So again, see your school counselor if you are interested in that program.
Okay. If a student was told that they were rezoned for Ridge Community High School, but when they're looking in Portal and other places, they still show at the previous school, what is it that they should do?
Great question. And one, I'm sorry for my laughter, folks out there, but we have been, dealing with this, since the rezoning happened. And we are sure that on Tuesday, we are going to have families, that think they should go to Ridge, but are really, zoned for Haines City or Davenport or vice versa. So the first thing that I would ask that you do is if you think that you should be zoned for Ridge Community and you're not, please email me. All right, my email is on the app. It's angela.clark01@polk-fl.net, and we can maybe type it in the chat or something of that nature. But that's the first thing to do. We are looking at individual cases, and I'm sure we'll have quite a few more on Tuesday. But if we can get the situation resolved before Tuesday so that you can start at whatever school you're zoned for correctly on Tuesday, that's what we would want to do. So please go ahead and email me those questions with your name and ID number preferably, so that we can look up your status and see what school you are zoned for, so that you can start right on Tuesday.
You had touched a little bit on the COVID updates earlier, but in particular, this question is they want to know what the precautions school-wide have been taken to have as little COVID cases as possible, such as sanitation areas, sanitizer available, etc.
Sure. I know this is still a hot topic, and we are doing all that we can in order to mitigate the effects of COVID. So hand sanitizer stations are located in hallways and in classrooms throughout the campus. Each classroom is equipped with hand sanitizer, which is actually a big gallon jug of hand sanitizer in each room. We are limiting the use of shareable materials, so like small whiteboards that a class may use, or class sets of books, or things of that nature, unless they can be sanitized in between use. Classrooms are still asked to either social distance, 6 feet or greater, or be all facing the same direction. So we are trying to social distance where possible. If there is a case of COVID that is determined, that room and the areas where the person will be deep cleaned by our custodial department. We are also sanitizing throughout the day the main high-touch areas of our campus. You will see that even though we are not doing the temperature checks anymore, per the guidelines of Polk County, we will still be doing a lot of mitigating things, throughout the day in order to, try to protect as much as we can. Again, we encourage the students to, wear their masks. Teachers are encouraged to wear their masks, but again, that is optional. And then wash your hands consistently, in terms of that. So we make sure that there's plenty of soap in the bathrooms, for that purpose. We have masks available, all right? So if you break one, as we all know that happens now, living with these things for the length of time that we have masks available. If students or staff are starting to present symptoms, we do have areas on our campus where they can be isolated until either a ride comes or, it's determined that they need to go home. So there are lots of factors that go into our everyday life anymore to try to mitigate that, to the utmost. But, still, it's a lot on the individual as well, because there's not a hand washing time where we take everybody there. I mean, those are things that, the student and the staff person need to do, on their own. But we try to go over that with the teachers as well, to watch for things in their classroom, to wipe down desks and high-touch areas in the classrooms in between classes. If computers are used, to make sure that those are sanitized, between uses. And things of that nature. So, we try to do the best we can in those areas and probably more that I'm not recalling right off the top of my head.
Okay, for students that are new to Ridge and trying to use Portal, how can they go about getting their PIN number?
You can get your PIN number, by parents can come into the office, and obviously we have to verify the identity of the parent in order to get their PIN number. For students, I'm looking for some help from my tech people in here.
They would need their login information, so they would have to reach out here to the school.
All right, so even students would need to have their login information, so to reach out to the school. Again, I know it's unfortunate that Monday's going to be crazy, all right, and, a lot of people, but you can try to, call the school. But again, in order to get your portal information, we have to make sure that it is given to the person, that is assigned to. So we ask that folks come into the office to show ID in order to get those PIN numbers for the portal.
Teachers, of course, on the first day of school, all teachers have access to the students' information to give out on the first day of school.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
In the event a student is quarantined, will there be guidelines set forth for how they get their work and how teachers do the curriculum?
That's a great question. Yes, we are continuing with Schoology. So, teachers are asked to set up a Schoology account similar to what they did last year. We are still receiving updates from the state and from the district in terms of quarantining students this year. So yes, that is something that we will go over with all students and will be included in the student letter and parent letter that is sent home with the students if they are, on the list to be quarantined. Students will have access to their courses through Schoology. One of the things that was, addressed by Mr. Hyde, which is our new superintendent to all schools, is we want to continue a student's education even through this pandemic. So if you do not have a computer, we are going to be looking at options for you to still stay connected to your classes, where you can, if you're feeling up to it, you can tune in virtually, to the classes as they are in progress here on Ridge Community's campus.
Okay. And a question earlier that kind of went with that was, will they have access to laptops?
Yes, we will have, we're still not a one-to-one school, all right? So let me be clear on that. So accommodations to keep them connected, to the classes, while they are either on quarantine or out, for an extended period of time.
Right now, counselors are not available. When can we set up appointments with counselors?
Sure. I answered a couple of those questions as well. Obviously, I've had them on lockdown myself, all right, in terms of that, because we need to get everybody scheduled and scheduled accurately by Tuesday. But once that slows down and we, get the enrollments in, that have been coming into the school to enroll, so probably by the end of next week, I would say, hopefully by Thursday or Friday of next week, we can start, accepting, conferences with school counselors to go over schedules, or for those of you that may be looking to be early graduates, or, planning for, dual enrollment classes or something of that nature, to talk one-on-one with your school counselor to make adjustments as needed.
We have a couple of questions in here regarding Navy Silver days and which ones and so forth, so
Yay.
you might want to reiterate.
Yes.
Our schedule.
So there are no Navy Silver days anymore, all right? We will just have days, all right? So they are 7-period days. So you will see all 7 classes each and every day. So there is no more block scheduling at Ridge Community High School for this school year. We are on what is called a straight 7. So students, you will see 7 classes for a total of about 48 minutes each. And then you will move on to your next class. Passing time in between classes is 6 minutes. So we will be, visiting all 7 classes each and every day.
You talked about busing, drop-off, and all in the morning. We have a question on bus dismissal at the end of the day. Where do I go? How will that work?
Sure. Typically, especially during this first week, there are a lot of people out there on the bus loop to assist you in finding your bus. It is a site, and it can be intimidating, but, there will be people out there to assist you to find the bus that you need in order to get home. It's typically the same bus that you rode to school on, so when you get on the bus in the morning, please make sure that you're checking that bus number. Also communicate with your bus drivers. They'll tell you whether they are in the front of the loop or in the back of the loop, typically in order to catch that bus of an afternoon. But if you do forget, please, find an administrator or a teacher that is going to be out in the bus loop. We hold buses for a little bit of time on the first days of school to make sure that everybody knows where their bus typically picks up. So we will be assisting you in that process.
Okay. I know that administration and teachers have discussed this at length, and we have a question asking about bonnets or caps and different things for head coverings. And they were asking, will things like that be allowed on campus?
No, they will not, all right? As part of our dress code, no bandanas, bonnets, shower caps, hoods, or hats, all right, are allowed on campus. So please check out our dress code for a full description of our dress code so that you are prepared. Now, if you are wearing a designated headband, all right, so that it is, you purchased it as a headband to hold your hair back, so it has a function, all right, we'll be working with you on those, but please do not use bandanas, flags, bonnets, things of that nature in order to hold your hair back, all right, in terms of that.
Okay. We have a student that wants to know, how can I join a club?
Great. Here at the very beginning of school, we will have a club and organization day, typically, where we bring all of our clubs and organizations that are available for you to join out to our lunch courtyard area, so that you can see all of the options that are available, get involved, and be a part of the wonderful community we have here at Ridge.
Will lunches run the same kind of way this year?
Yes, we will still be going in, through the door to the right of the cafeteria and then funneling around into the 2 lines. So yes, it will all function. If you were here last year, it is the same setup for lunches this year.
Okay. Is tutoring available if I need a little extra help?
Yes, we have many of our teachers that provide tutoring, for students in specific subject areas. We are also looking to get tutoring started again back after school. So please listen to announcements, or, if you are having difficulty in a certain subject, please see your teacher or your school counselor in order to get some tutoring set up for that. But yes, if almost all of our teachers are very good about providing extra assistance for students in need of tutoring.
We do have a couple of questions from people asking in particular about e-school. We might want to clarify.
Sure. This year, you have basically two options in order to go to school here in Polk County. First is face-to-face. So at Ridge Community, the only option that we will be offering in terms of school choice is face-to-face learning. If you wish to go to e-school or virtual learning, you would need to register with Polk Virtual, all right? And you can find information about Polk Virtual on the Polk County website. But again, the only option offered for Ridge Community this year will be face-to-face instruction.
Okay. Will we be able to use lockers this year?
Right now, my answer is yes, all right, but it may not be the first 9 weeks. We are still not dressing out for PE. In terms of the first 9 weeks, as part of our COVID protocol. So we will look and see how, COVID progresses or declines, hopefully declines, and we can open things up. So, as soon as we can start, to do it safely, then yes, I want to encourage the use of lockers, as I know some of those books that you get assigned are thick and difficult to carry around. So we want to accommodate that as best we can.
Okay, we have a question on asking, can we provide a map on social media marking the drop-off areas for Tuesday that were mentioned earlier? And I just want to address that. If you go on the app under the orientation and keep scrolling down, you'll find it on there. If not, send us an email and we'll make sure that you get that information.
Perfect.
How do we know which classes we can change when we want to speak to someone about a schedule change?
Sure. Typically it would be your elective choices. So depending on what grade level you're working with, most students are going to have an English, math, science, and social studies. Some students may need an intensive reading or intensive math on top of there. But your elective choices are typically your medical academy, your engineering, construction, your digital design classes, so your elective choices. In some cases, you have the opportunity to change those. But in some areas, there are some courses, for those of you who may have been at Ridge can obviously confirm, is that they're harder to get into than others. So they're very highly requested courses. So, to pick up like culinary arts or a 2D art can sometimes be difficult because there's a limited number of seats and a lot of people request it. So, it's always good to ask, is how I would tell you to go about it in terms of your schedule changes. And then we can provide you, a reason as to it can be changed or it can't be changed for a specific reason.
I have a question regarding when students report to school, just clarification, whether it's Monday or Tuesday, just to clarify our first day of school.
Sure. Our first day of school is August 10th, all right, which is Tuesday. All right, so Tuesday is the first day of school. Obviously, the first period starts at 7 a.m. Gates open at 6:30. At 6:30, we welcome you into the school gates and into the grab-and-go breakfast, and then be ready to roll at that bell time at 7 a.m.
Okay. How can I determine which lunch period I have? How will I know?
Sure. It'll be posted on your schedules, but on next week, we will be balancing the levels of students at each lunch. So we'll be dismissing on Tuesday, Wednesday, and typically Thursday, we'll be dismissing for lunches by intercom. And then we will finalize those lunch schedules, and then you'll start to see it on your portal and your printed schedule. So, for Tuesday, you don't have to worry about it just yet, because we'll be dismissing by intercom until we get the numbers right in each lunch.
Okay. This question is most likely from someone who has a later birth date. They want to know, can they get a parking pass after December?
Oh, yes. Obviously, parking passes are available until we run out of parking spots. But typically, yes, even if you, get your driver's license after December, we typically have parking spots available. So yes, parking spots are available all year long.
Okay. If the student was put in electives not chosen, can they still change that? I think you've addressed that a little bit, but that's availability.
Yes, it is. It is available based on class numbers and class sizes, and whether the course is full or not. But we do realize that some of you may not have been able to put in your course requests. Because of communication or being in the 8th grade and not getting the message, or being a new student to Ridge. So we will try to accommodate where we can, but it is based on the availability of that course.
Are volunteers allowed on campus this year?
Great question. Yes, all right. It still here early on, all right. So first 9 weeks, we are limiting it right to essential volunteers, but we will look to open the doors as we can, again watching the COVID pandemic and how it affects Ridge community, so we want to be cautious, of course, at first, but we encourage parents to get involved. So if you are wanting to volunteer, again, please shoot me an email, and we will look at what you're wishing to do, and how we can get you involved on our campus.
Okay. If we're not able to complete enrollment until, say, Monday of next week,
Sure.
will we report to school on Tuesday?
No, you would not, all right? So if you enroll on Monday, all right, so that means you're coming into the office and you're providing the ladies that work up in the front office your paperwork. Most likely you will not have a schedule on Tuesday, so please do not come, because you'll just be sitting and calling for a parent to come and pick you up, okay, while we're preparing your schedule. If you are enrolling on Monday, then a school counselor or other school personnel will call you when your schedule is ready. Typically, we like to have a 1 to 2 day turnaround, all right, for those. So we will do, the best that we can, in terms of accommodating that. It is typically longer at the very beginning of school, so please be patient if you are enrolling on Monday or Tuesday, for your day to get started. It will not affect your student's grade. I mean, obviously, we want them to get enrolled in school as quickly as possible. But if you are just enrolling next week, we will try to get you in as quick as we can.
How can I verify that the school has my physical and other information all ready to play sports?
Sure. In order to play sports, you need to renew your physical each year. Okay, so if you took a physical last school year, you will most likely need to get another one for this school year, but you can check with Coach Nixon. So if you look on our app or our website for Nicholas Nixon, you can email him, and he would be able to check the status of your physical to see whether you're ready to play sports.
Does Ridge have OJT, and how would I sign up for that?
Yes, we do have OJT, and it is available. You would need to look at the requirements, and so you can speak with your school counselor about the requirements for OJT, as it's pretty lined out, in terms of who qualifies and who would not qualify for that program. But yes, we do offer it, and when we do that schedule change request, please, make sure that you're putting that in there so that your school counselor can speak to you, concerning the requirements.
Okay. I've recently registered, so how will I know that all of my enrollment and registration is complete?
Sure. You know, as you see my thoughts go back, you know, in terms of that, again, if you want to send us an email to admin, we can check on that for you. You know, so again, I can look and see whether you are enrolled, or forward it to a school counselor to have them give you a call to see whether your enrollment status is up to date. Okay, because that again is a case by case basis.
Right. They're curious as to which classes do we have that are available to earn an industry certification.
Oh, okay. We have several different academies on our campus, and several of them, are, all of our academies pretty much have an industry certification. So whether you're involved in vet assisting, our construction academy, engineering academy, as Mr. Frost, who is taping me right now, is looking at, in our business and ITV marketing academy, we have certifications in many different areas that I'm sure, you can find one that you're interested in, to seek that out.
Okay. What do we do if we don't have a school ID?
Perfect. We'd like to give a shout out to Katie Studios, who provide our yearbook. They are also providing us with school IDs here at the beginning of the school year. So we will be distributing that during the first week of the school. Ninth graders, I will tell you, yours does not come with a picture on it, but we can update it when we do have school pictures. For upperclassmen, yours will come with your last year's school picture on it. So we will be distributing new IDs to all students during that next week. All right, so that you have them to wear each and every day.
Okay, if we get dropped off, and this would be either for bus or for car rider, where do we wait somewhere for the bell to ring, or is there a certain place that we go?
Sure. On Tuesday, there will be 4 large boards posted around, the courtyard. They're like big billboards. If you do not know where your first period class is, you can go to those boards and it will tell you where your first period class is. And then you would go to your first period class. So typically, why we call breakfast grab and go is you can go to the pavilion, grab your either hot or cold breakfast, whichever you prefer, and then you will make your way to your first period classes. So you will see administration, myself included, along with all of our deans and administration, pushing you to that first period class, because we want you to go to that first period class and not be late to class. So please do not wait for just that bell to ring, as there will still not be any standing and gathering in large groups, under the stairwells or in the courtyard, as we are still practicing that COVID protocol. So you will come onto campus, grab your grab-and-go breakfast, and then head to that first period class.
Okay, we've had a couple of people ask where they can find dress code information and other various items. We just want to remind everybody on the app, under the orientation section, they can find all of those items as well. Does Ridge have National Honor Society, and how do we join?
Yes, we do have National Honor Society, and if you are interested in that, the sponsor's name for that is James Furno. So you would reach out to Mr. Furno for that. There will also be announcements, for those of you that may be interested, to attend an informational meeting, and that will also be with our clubs and organizations that I mentioned earlier, that will be, setting up at lunches to show you what all is offered here at Ridge Community.
Here's a very popular question. What are the chances of seniors actually having a prom and or a homecoming this
Oh,
year?
mercy. I wish I had a crystal ball out there, Bolt Nation, to see what that would entail. What we're being told right now is, we can have, activities, all right, that are homecoming, prom kind of related. Still not the full out dances, to that extent, but we would have other opportunities for activities that we could write proposals. So I'll be getting with the Student Government Association. So talk to your student government officers and representatives, and tell them what you'd kind of like to have. And I know everybody would like a full-out prom. I still don't know whether that's going to be available or not. But we can look at different options. I want there to be those kind of options, and the door is kind of open for us to be creative as long as we're, following some COVID protocol in it. So that is a topic of discussion for, the school year coming up.
We do have a question that asks, is there a difference in quarantine time for vaccinated students and or teachers as opposed to unvaccinated students and or teachers?
Yes, there is. So again, if you want to go to, I would refer you to the Polk County School Board website. As soon as you log on the Polk County School Board website, there is a section called COVID. To click on that, and you can look at all of the updated protocol that schools are asked to follow. It talks about, the quarantine time for, students and staff that are vaccinated versus not vaccinated. We totally acknowledge that it is a family's choice. The information is out there for you to reference, by going to that. We will also probably see about putting it on our website as well. I also, want to make you aware that, that is, continually changing. We just got some more information, from the state and district today. So we will be updating that and trying to keep you as informed of those, standards as what we can.
Okay. This student understands they're in referencing to dual enrollment courses, and they understand that the semester for Polk State College starts a little later in September. So where will we go once school starts until that date for on-campus
If
classes?
you were enrolled in Polk State classes here on campus, so freshman English 1, for example, you would still go to that classroom starting August 10th, all right, if you were enrolled in that class, or college success or humanities class. So you would still go to that classroom. The instructor for that class may give you some work, prior to that college class, in order to prep you for the college material that'll be covered when the Polk State, semester actually begins. But in terms of Ridge Community High School schedule, if you are scheduled in a dual enrollment class during the day, you attend that class each and every day, even before Polk State starts.
Okay. How can I make an address change? In particular, I've moved since I've last ridden a bus, and how does that get updated?
Please bring your 2 proofs of residence into the front office, so that can be updated by our office staff.
A couple of people out there are asking, in particular, are hoodies allowed on campus?
No hoodies allowed on campus. That is a district policy as well.
Is that with just the hat up, or they can wear it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
Yes,
let me
the
clarify. All right. You can wear hooded sweatshirts, just not the hood up on your head.
There you go. Are freshmen required to take ROTC?
It is typically in every freshman's schedule. All right, so I'll clarify that. ROTC, especially during the freshman year, is more about leadership and study skills and organization than it is about Army. If you do have major concerns about being in a JROTC class, you could email me or your school counselor, and we can address that on an individual basis.
Okay. Will I have to pay for school breakfast and or lunch? And also, if I don't want to eat lunch, where do I go?
Very good question. All right. No, we are a community eligible provision school, so we do not charge our students for breakfast or lunch. If you choose not to eat, you are not required to eat, so you would not go through the line. You would still be dismissed to the courtyard for your lunch time, And if you wish to bring a lunch from outside, from your house, in terms of that, you are welcome to do so. So no, you are not required to eat lunch, but if you choose to do it, it is free.
Okay. This would be one that I think all of our parents need to know. Can you provide information on the SAC committee?
Yay! All right, so thank you parents out there. Our Student Advisory Committee typically meets the last Monday of each month. And we are looking to get more parents involved. So if you came to the tours on orientation, you may have been asked to give some information for a parent sign up. In terms of that, for a parent distribution list. I'm sorry, I had to look up the name that we're calling it so that I'm uniform in that. There will also be ways to sign up at, activities that we hold on campus. So August 20th is our first home football game. So I encourage everybody to come out to Friday Night Frenzy. There will be tables set up there for parents to sign up for the parent distribution list, and so be involved. In the SAC committee, we look at different areas of the campus and how we could improve and get input from parents and students, as a part of that committee. So we still are going to hold those meetings both in person and virtually so that we can maximize the number of people that want to attend to those. But we encourage you to get involved in that. So again, I'm going to look to Mr. Frost over here. Is there a way that we could post that for parents to sign up for, or do they just need to do that in person at an event?
Nope, they can go on to the RCHS app. There's a parent involvement tile,
Perfect.
so you can fill out that form. There's also the sign-in form that's listed below the live stream and the comments. That's the sign-in form. We'll capture emails, and then you'll get an email once we get closer to the first SAC committee meeting. So plenty of ways to give us your information that you want to get involved. I've already gotten several today, so that's fantastic. But definitely want to get more parents involved. So please go ahead, fill out those forms, and then we'll send you emails as the SAC committee gets a little bit more in motion.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Frost.
Okay, this is an important question because there is confusion out there in the district. On my student portal, it says I'm Polk full-time school, and I have scheduled, but I'm missing 3 periods. I'm confused and not sure. Do I go to Ridge or what?
It would sound to me, if you are showing Polk Virtual, all right, that you are enrolled in the virtual option, all right? So you would not attend Ridge face-to-face. If that is not what you wish to do, if you would check your zone to make sure that you're zoned for Ridge Community, and if you are wishing to change options, you can come into the office and make that change.
Okay. For a student who has recently found out they are COVID-19 positive, do they report to school on Tuesday?
No, please do not. If you are, one of the things that I want to make clear, and reinforced it with the staff this week as well. If you are showing symptoms of COVID-19, please do not attend school. You can, call us or send us an email and let us know that information, in terms of that. And we will give you the instructions on how to notify the Department of Health if you choose to do so. But your doctor, if you have tested positive, your doctor should give you a release, time, to return, to campus. And so again, no, please do not attend if you are showing symptoms or, you're still in isolation due to testing positive.
Okay. We had a question on the student parking lot gate when it opens, just to reinforce what you said earlier. That opens at 6:30, so make sure you have that down. How can I sign up for wrestling?
Yay! That is an awesome. I'm glad you're wanting to get involved. Kyle Pace is our wrestling coach. And again, you can find him on the app. So Kyle Pace, Pace, and shoot Mr. Pace an email, and he will get you into workouts, starting here early on into the school year.
Okay, we had several questions again on bus routes and pickup times. Once again, we'll redirect you to the school board website. There's a phone number there. They're open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Use that number. They will know your routes and be able to answer those questions for you.
Yes, and that number again is 863-534-7300.
Do we have to own an instrument to play one if we want to be in band, orchestra, or piano?
No. All right. Please get involved. If you're interested in being a part of any of those, music electives, we can get you started with instruments that you would, borrow or rent from, from us here at Ridge Community. So if you are interested, Mr. Renzi, but his email is actually justintrainer@polk-fl.net. Please reach out to him, and see about joining band, and we can get you started.
Some more people wanting to gather. They want to know, are we going to have pep rallies this year?
Pep rallies again. Probably, I would like to. Yes. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm all about school spirit and getting hyped. All right, and ready for our fun athletic events. Again, we have to follow COVID protocol along with it. But we are looking at some options for some pep rallies, throughout the course of the year, starting here with the football season. Whether it's going to be the full out school, I can't say, but again, we have to follow that COVID protocol in having any major events of that nature. Safety is first and foremost.
We have a question that asks, can we order food from outside to be delivered to the school? And I would assume we can address if they can leave and get food as well.
Right. We are a closed campus, all right, so we do not allow outside food vendors being brought into campus. So no, please do not order food, or pizzas or anything of that nature to be delivered at lunchtime from outside vendors. We are also a closed campus, which means you cannot leave during the school day unless you are checked out by a parent.
This question is in regards to cell phone policies. In particular, will cell phones be allowed to be out at lunch?
Yes, excuse me. Yes, you can use your cell phones in between classes, in the courtyard in the morning, after school, or at lunch. What we ask is that, and you'll see it posted in most every room, and hopefully you'll hear it by every teacher on Tuesday, is that, we're here for the purpose of learning. And so cell phones need to be put away unless you're using them specifically for that class period. Earbuds, and things of that nature need to be put away and taken off as you enter that class so that you can, listen to what the instructor has to say and be an active member of that class. And so, our cell phone policy is, you can use it in between classes, courtyards, and so on, but when you step into those classrooms, it's at the direction of the teacher to put them away. Because some teachers, you will use your phones as a resource. That's what I'm referring to in terms of the class.
We do have a few other questions concerning virtual learning. In particular, they're saying if they're choosing virtual learning, but they're registered at Ridge, do we go online or come face-to-face? So probably some clarification there.
Right. If you are enrolled in Polk Virtual, you are a Polk Virtual student. Okay, so Ridge Community, the only option for Ridge Community students is face-to-face. So if your portal is saying Polk Virtual, all right, you are enrolled in Polk Virtual and not Ridge Community.
Interesting question from someone asking, is there any free time during our time at school?
The only free time, per se, that you would get is the passing period in between classes, which is the 6 minutes walking time, from one class to another, as well as your 25-minute lunch. The rest of the time is taken up by your classes. So all students attend 7 classes a day. Each of those classes are 48 minutes. And then, again, you have, time at lunch to socialize with your friends.
Are water bottles allowed on campus?
Yes, they are. So you are allowed to bring water bottles on campus, for hydration purposes only, I guess, is what I would like to say, according to that.
This is someone who came through and did a tour earlier today, and they heard that the tour guides mentioned the drill team. Can you elaborate on the JROTC teams and competitions that they might be able to get involved in?
Whew. Let me see if I can remember all of them. So I may need help from my crew that's in here. Obviously, we have our national champion drill team, so that we are all very extremely proud of them and the way that they represent Ridge Community High School. So you have the drill team competition. You also have the Raiders. You also have the Cyber Patriots. You also have the rifle team. You also have the academic bowl team, in terms of JROTC. So they offer many activities for you to get involved in terms of it. It's just a great organization, once you get involved in it, your freshman year, many students choose to stay with it through the 4 years, even though they thought at first when they saw it on their schedule that they wouldn't want it at all. So it is, a wonderful part of our culture and our environment here at Ridge.
All right, and what's going to be our last question of the evening?
Okay.
We've reached the end here. What times can a student go into the Media Center? Is the Media Center back open this year for student use?
Again, it is, but we are going to be monitoring that for COVID protocol as well. So typically, Ms. Cubbage has it open in the morning. It will be still closed at lunchtime. Typically, what Ms. Cubbage has been doing for lunchtime, if you wish to check out a book or a resource, is we bring a cart down to the pavilion area. So we will continue to do that. So the Media Center will not be open at lunch, but just open in the morning. And then after school as well for a short period of time. But again, do not miss a bus because you're in the Media Center, please.
That is going to conclude the questions we have online.
All right. Well, I thank you all, Bolts, for joining us tonight. Appreciate you tuning in and giving us those questions. Again, thank my assistant principals and Mr. Frost for being here tonight and helping out, and answering questions for us all in terms of that. I know I mentioned earlier to some parents as they came through that we were going to try to have a translator tonight. That didn't work out, so I apologize for that, but we will look to have a translator in our future broadcasts. So appreciate all of you and looking forward to a great school year. Go Bolts!